Happy Wednesday, everybody. This is Dr. Trent taking you to the next level, aka Devoness Divine. That's my intergalactic name. And I want to say to everyone, Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I know you're having a great Wednesday. Keep the positive energy going. Keep the positive vibes going. And let's get to the subject. Now, so before I go any further, I want to first send a shout out to Spiritual Soul. And Spiritual Soul actually caught my attention this morning because I watch his videos. He's a conscious person rising, soaring on into the universe, and he's showing people his, spiritual journey. So a lot of people are learning from his experiences. He's been truthful about a lot of things, and he's helping to shake and make some people, they're starting to wake up. But particularly, I looked on his channel. I hadn't looked at his vids in a while, but I looked at one of his vids this morning, and it said, "Pray for my ex." And he said, me and a female needs to do a collab, but I'm just putting something out here because when I was watching Pray for My Ex, as I was listening to him talk, it actually brought me to a reality about some things that I had been through. And I want to talk about that today. So first, the guy that you see on this screen, he's Spiritual Soul. He's influencing a lot of youngsters, a lot of middle-aged, a lot of ages. And actually, when I was going back into my spiritual journey, because, I started my spiritual journey at a young age, sometimes you fall asleep to things. And sometimes you slide back because of decisions that you make, soul ties that you make. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And this one that he did on December the 1st was entitled Pray for My Ex. You can go check out his channel and check it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm touching base on this, I actually did a video on this, is because it's some information I want to pass to him that he may want to pass to her, and something that other people they might learn from what he's talking about, what she's going through, and what I've experienced in my life. And that's what this about. That's what this is about. In Pray for My Ex, he talks about his ex-girlfriend named Ash. And he talks about how when he first, met her, she had a vision board, she was anchored, she was on point, and how he was thankful to her for her awakening him. And a year later, he's starting to get messages about her having a private account with some partially nude pictures, not showing private parts, but partially nude, and she has a fan base. And this is what I want to talk about, and I'm going to tag him in this, and maybe this will help this young lady. You could tell, even though he says the past is the past, he's right. I think he's stern on that, but there is a concern. Because when you have a soul tie with somebody, even when you're not with them and you have moved on, if you still have that tie to that person, you will reflect back. Love is always love, but you will reflect back, and you can, if you watch the video, you can kind of see it in his demeanor, in his eyes, because the eyes tell a lot. So first, I want to jump into the first conclusion. And like I said, I'm going to be using my experience. I'm going to be talking, I might turn this on and, talk about, let him speak a little bit, maybe not. But to relate to this current situation that Ash has got herself into, and what he's talking about, because people are coming to him with this. Now, one, I do want to say he is starting a spiritual uproar, an uprising, and he is using his life as an example. He let others see his journey, and it might be a D&D attack where the powers that be discredit and distract. She could have been paid by some higher ups to do this for the very reason of what he's trying to accomplish. And it's called to discredit and distract. Discredit by putting the spotlight on her, and distract by showing the spotlight. And then, as he say, these bots, these NPC players come back to him like, oh man, look, your ex got a private account. Oh my, it's naked. Want to buy her pics? All kinds of things to try to disturb this young man, which is a really good tactic, because the powers that be, when they set up this matrix, the mind games and using the emotions of a person's energy, they do these things to distract, to throw off the path, and all types of things. And not saying he's thrown off the path, but there is a concern because people are coming to him about what this young lady's doing with her account. So let me do the intro for him. Spiritual soul in the building. What's up, enlightened one? Gazer, nature soul in the building. Here's the information. So I say to spiritual soul, if you're watching this, and for anybody else who's watching this, take what you need and leave what you don't. So that the first conclusion was what we said: the powers that be was doing a D&D attack, discredit, distract, may have offered her some huge sums of money. The soft porn industry, they do that. But let's jump to the actual conclusion as to what's going on with Ash and Pray for My Ex, to relate to this current situation. So in the beginning, he talks about how him and Ash, how she had a vision board, chakra beads, and a year later, it seems he doesn't even know who his ex is. And I'm going to tell you how I can relate to this, and I'm going to give you the answer. And you may want to relate this information to her, because it may tug at her and make her wake up out of, not that she tried to go to sleep, but let me further explain. And I'm going to use an example. In my spiritual walk, I was always awake as a child. I could see things when I was in my crib, and I remember that to this day. You know, I could see things. I could see things in people. I could tell who was human, who wasn't. There was a lot of things as a young child that I knew about, that I was very pertinent to and remembered to this very day. And I remember when there was a gentleman, my children's father to be exact, when we first met, you know, I really, really liked him. I dug him. I felt myself like we had this connection. But the issue is that he knew about some things, but he wasn't as awakened or evolved from what he already had within. He wasn't fully evolved yet. He was kind of halfway asleep and halfway in there. And the mistake that men and women make who are on their spiritual journeys, who are awake, is that a lot of times they get with somebody, and instead of, I mean, let me put it like this. If you really like the person and you want to see them evolve and you can see yourself with them in the future, sometimes it takes being in a friendship for years before you cohabitate, or even before you intertwine spiritually, as in sexual relations, and have soul ties. Because here's what happened. Here's what happened to me. I was all about that spiritual life. You know, the balanced everything. And I cohabitated with this person, in which I think spiritual soul, may have, this may be the case of what happened with Ash. If you were not fully spiritually awake, what she maybe did not realize is by her intertwining with you, cohabitating with you, it did damage. When I say damage, as in, well, your soul's tied. And the way that I can see that in relations to my life is when me and their father, as time went on, I had started acting and being in ways that he was, and he started becoming spiritually enlightened like I was. And what I see going on is you two intertwine, your souls are still tied. And she is exhibiting the old you, the old tie of you and her. And you are exhibiting the tie with her, the spiritual side, but you evolved out of what you were doing. You evolved out of the drama, the hurting people and all that, versus her. She got knocked off spiritually because she didn't realize what was going on, and thus she is in a battle. And she may have just decided to go back to sleep, or whatever the case may be. But you may want to pass this information on to her. Soul ties are very serious. I'll go an example. A lot of people go by the Bible. So let's talk about the Bible. Let's use an example. The woman at the well. When Jesus met the woman at the well, she was drawing water, right? And Jesus was talking to her. And then as the story goes, Jesus told the woman, "You have 5 husbands." And she looked at him like, "What? I don't have no 5 husbands." And he said, "The one that you're with now is not your own." This is in relation to soul ties. She was with 5 men before. And it may have been, even though the story doesn't tell it, but the way I'm taking it is it may have been that those 5 men may have been virgins. I don't know. But she was tied to them. And the one that he stated was not her own, apparently he was spiritually tied to somebody else. Thus is the parable about the woman with the 5 husbands, and the one that she has now is not her own. This is what's wrong with most of us. Until we realize that we need to break ties. A lot of times a lot of ties are healthy. Some are very unhealthy, and that's why you get some people who they go into depression, or they can't stop thinking about the person, or they just go crazy. And it's because of unhealthy soul ties. And and these type of ties they go further back. These ties even go back as far as our parents, friends, exes, teachers. If it was an unhealthy tie, you have to go and you have to break yourself of it. You have to break yourself from that soul tie. And what you may need to email, text, call, however it is you deal with her, do her a favor. Do for her, spiritual soul, what she did for you. Pull her coattail on it and let her know, hey, you were a spiritually strong woman. I thank you for helping me to evolve, for nudging me on the shoulder, and now I'm woke. But let me pull your coattail about something. I think that at the time, whatever my soul was struggling or dealing with is what's intertwined in your soul right now. And you need to get your chakras straightened out. You need to cut off that soul tie from the former me. And this is what Ashley needs to be informed of. Praying for her. We could pray for her all day. We could send her good energy, good vibes. But her coattail needs to be pulled to the fact of the matter is that a year ago she was grounded and now she's not. And if you're thankful to her, repay the favor, give it back, which calls spiritual karma. Repay it back to her. She may not realize that this is going on. I mean, true story. It's not that she's a clone. I honestly, from listening to what you said, I honestly think and believe from the information that was relayed to me on this video that she's caught up in a soul tie of your former self. Help her out, spiritual soul. You know, keep doing what you're doing. You're helping people to wake up and look within themselves and meditate. And I really do appreciate that because we are all one, whether people are acting like bots, NPC players, whatever the case. You know, we've got to try to help as many as we can with the information we given because it's going to become a time, you know, everybody got to do what they got to do. So, and to pray for my ex, let her know that her soul may still be attached to whatever toxicity may have been going on in your soul. And it caught her off guard. I mean, another example of that, have you ever noticed like when a couple has been together for a long, long time and people say, whoa, that looks like y'all look like sisters and brothers. That's because those persons' souls are tied. Or if you ever notice that the woman that's with the man or the man that's with the woman or whatever the case may be, how one will talk like the other and the other starts talking like one, that's a soul tie. And she just may need to release herself of that. I just wanted to touch base on that and keep doing what you're doing. You're awesome. Keep it going. Dr. Trent taking you to the next level. Divinus Divine. That's my intergalactic name.